But until then, Raikou, floor's yours.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm really excited about this match, or rather this race, or the seed words. I'm used to commentating matches, and so that's like the first thing I say. Perfect. Great. So as Raikou mentioned, this is the Super Metroid Randomzier accessible logic. This is kind of a logic that a friend and I kind of pieced together a year ago or so, and we wanted to develop a logic that was handpicked in a way that would be perfect for newer runners who wanted to get into Super Metroid Randomzier. Super Metroid Randomzier is a pretty OG randomizer, and it's one of the best randomizers out there. And it's, if you're interested in Super Metroid and you want to learn how to do Super Metroid Randomzier, this is definitely the logic that you want to try it out on. It's extremely beginner friendly. It's kind of more like a vanilla logic style, and we're going to be seeing a really cool showcase here by Raikou, who's going to be making their way down the climb here across the Mother Brain pits, and they're going to be heading down into the Morph Ball location. A change from last year's SMRAT, this location actually could have had one of 4 different items. It could have been High Jump, Ice Beam, Space Jump, or Morph Ball. But with the recent change, this item is always going to be the Morph Ball, as we see here. This is going to unlock over 50% or more of the game. It's a very important item. And so now we're going to head on over. We're not going to be seeing, actually, we will be seeing our very first trick, actually out of logic. It's going to be a damage boost into the ceiling after we check this Awakening Missile location here. If this is a power bomb, this is really nice. If we find a power bomb, that's going to allow us to clear out Billy Maze, which is a selection of 2 items to the top right here. Just a missile pack, though. And our estimate for this race, I believe, is an hour 20, but I know RaikouRider is a pretty good runner, and we'll probably, depending on the seeds, SMRAT seeds can be pretty trolly, as I know Raikou has seen one too many times. But here comes that damage boost, and it's bombs, so very nice damage boost. So basically we're going to shoot that block, just as you saw Raikou do, and then we're going to use this waiver enemy here, and it's going to actually boost him up just enough to get that item, and that's not in logic. The requirement for that item right there is High Jump Boots, Space Jump, or Ice Beam. And so those bombs need to be considered because they're not in logic yet. So, but they're really nice to have, because if we are stuck with just a power bomb pack moving down into Pink Brinstar, I'm sure Raikou is going to really enjoy having those bombs to be able to full clear easier full clear of Pink Brinstar. And that is an interesting play. A lot of runners, kind of have to think about some of the skips that they can and may not be able to skip for some time saves, and potentially the Bomb Chorizo skip could be an interesting skip. And it's true, if there was a power bomb pack here, generally in SMRAT seeds we do see power bombs at that Bomb Chorizo spot. So basically what Raikou was mentioning there is, if there was a power bomb pack at this Mother Brain location, it could very well be a good opportunity to skip Bomb Chorizo. So Raikou does have a few options here with the items that they have. He only has 1 E-Tank, but he does have bombs. So he could elect to check and clear Gauntlet. It's a pretty risky play with just bombs and a single E-Tank, but some runners elect to make a play on that. One thing to note about the Gauntlet location is the logic required for that location is 2 separate pieces. So you have an up logic, which is speed booster, space jump, or bombs through an infinite bomb jump, or and then you have through logic, which is screw attack. So we have our bombs, they're out of logic, so potentially a low percent check. So now we're going to be checking this 230 missile location, and the reason why these are called the 230 missile location is because it's the actual final missile you pick up in the hundo route to get you up to 230 missiles. So that's why it's the 230 missile location. Yeah, and it looked like Raikou was going for the more traditional wall jumps. And there's another method called the behemoth climb. But either way you look at it, the climb can be a menace. Right. And also, fun fact, this was required to be a power bomb because to get out of bomb chorizo, you need to either do an Alcatraz or bomb the blocks. And the Alcatraz escape is out of logic. And because we found those bombs out of logic, they weren't our logical progression to get out of bomb chorizo. So it was required for a power bomb to be here. So Raikou making the right choice in checking this location, knowing that that was going to be a power bomb, because we definitely don't want to be without power bombs, because this could be potentially our only power bomb pack for a while. And so we really need that power bomb pack to check some locations down in Green Brinstar. We need that power bomb pack to check locations in Pink Brinstar. And so very good choice by Raikou there to end up checking that location in the end. Right, exactly. And on top of that, he knew it was going to be there, and he was going to be saving time on the bomb chorizo fight, because we do have bombs, which Raikou mentioned, it triggers the bomb chorizo fight. So had Raikou found maybe a power bomb at 230 missiles or below Mother Brain, he would have been able to skip that, knowing there was a power bomb there, and could potentially, if it came down to it in the end, if he only had 10 power bombs and no ice, he could elect to just go down there, pick up that final power bomb, and be good for Torian. So overall, a good heads-up play for sure. Now, this is kind of a sticky situation to be in. We are moving down into Green Brinstar now. We do not have any supers. We're going to be doing our next out of logic check here. We have 5 items back here, 4 of which are out of logic. The logic that's required for this room is Speed Booster, but we're going to be doing a Mock Ball. Very nice. Raikou getting it first try allows us to get under these gates quick enough before they drop. And so, we find Grapple Beam. Grapple Beam is really nice. Grapple Beam is, oh my gosh, and Screw Attack. Screw Attack is super nice because that's going to make any low percent runs down in Lower Norfair so much easier to handle. And there is a super pack. Now, mind you, this is all out of logic. So this super pack, that Screw Attack, and the Grapple Beam are all speed locked. And we also have one more item up top here. Definitely. I'm going to pick up a missile pack here. That's going to put Raikou at 25. Generally, depending on... Yeah, so Raikou doesn't really have a lot of health at this point, so this reserve tank could be a good safety. We do need at least 3 E-tanks to complete the game, because the final Mother Brain Rainbow Beam would do more damage. If you only had 2 E-tanks, you would die immediately. So we do need to make sure we have at least 3 E-tanks. So now we're going to be moving down into the basement area. This has 2 items, one outside the basement door and one inside the basement door. And this is actually really nice that Raikou found that super pack. It's out of logic still. So I'm assuming from what we've seen, we're probably going to find our first in-logic super pack, potentially at Edacoon's or maybe somewhere in Pink Brinstar. But just know that the super pack that we have is not in logic quite yet. So we are heading over to the Edakun's location now, the Edakun Power Bomb vanilla location. And this screw attack, as you can see, is really nice. Because that's going to allow us to kill those B-tomes pretty quickly. Alright, and okay, so just a missile pack. So that super pack is probably chilling somewhere in Pink Brinstar. We're probably going to run into that very soon. So Raikou's actually going to attempt, yeah, just as I thought, going to attempt a mock ball out of Edakun's. The Edakun's escape there, very nicely done. That is not an easy mock ball, but it is, once you master it, it can become pretty muscle memory. So something to note here, Raikou, nice, good job. Something to note here, oof, okay, so Raikou actually ended up using a power bomb there. So what I was going to say is, typically when you have 5 power bombs, it's really important to farm for the 5th power bomb at the door, but he has screw attack, so he could use screw attack to use on those blocks instead of a power bomb. But he ended up using a power bomb, which is okay. He's just going to have to farm for one unless he finds a power bomb. Power bomb management in Pink Brinstar can be like really hectic sometimes, and having only 5, excuse me, we have bombs. So never mind about all that what I was saying. I forgot that we picked up bombs early. So he's fine either way. But in the future, if anyone's interested in learning how to route Pink Brinstar effectively, really pay attention to those power bombs and farm, because you need at least 4 if you do the correct the correct power bombing strats. But right now he's going to be completely okay because he has bombs and he's going to be able to get through here just fine. So he's going to do the more typical Pink Brinstar routing. We're going to check, we did the spring ball. Very nice. So I'm not sure how much you use spring ball, Raikou, but a lot of people in the Smrat community at least know that this is my favorite item because I break the game in so many different ways using the spring ball. It's an extremely versatile item. And so depending on how RaikouRider uses it, it could be very beneficial. So Raikou, what are your thoughts on finding the power bomb there? Or spring ball rather. Okay. So and that's also a good way to use a spring ball. It saves out. Sorry, I didn't even notice. That's so funny. So the spot the spot that RaikouRider was just attempting to check, actually it's a good point to talk about the logic there. What is required for that is speed booster and gravity. So he's gonna have to farm a few power bombs here. So I think it may have come to my attention that you guys can't actually hear Raikou. Is this correct? Just want to make sure that I'm not talking. Doesn't make it seem like I'm just talking to myself. Can anyone out there in chat hear Raikou? Not sure yet. I'll just continue talking until I see some stuff. So our next check we're going to do here is an actually really cool trick. So there's a super block located just outside. Okay, you cannot hear them. Can't hear him. Can't hear Raikou. Oh, we cannot. Okay, interesting. So have you been able to? You could hear earlier, but not anymore. Interesting. Now I can't hear him either. Oh wait. Oh, you just weren't talking. Okay, try to say something. Let's see if they can hear you. Did you hear that at all, guys? So anyways, so this location here, he's a ghost. The location here, oh dang, so like when I was laughing, it just seemed like I was laughing at nothing. That's so funny. So anyway, so that location there's a super block hidden just outside of the map view, and actually if you walked up right next to it and shot a super into it, you would not be able to reach the super block. But there's a specific location, this super block that he's going to be shooting right there. There's a few locations right about on like underneath those ledges there that you can shoot, and you can actually reach the super block inside and hit that block on the other side. And here's another trick that Raikou's going to be attempting to do. He only has 2 supers, so I'm going to wish him some good luck here. Oof, okay. That's okay. Going to have to refill up some supers here. Thankfully, these Zebos do drop a pretty high percentage of power, or supers rather. Power bombs, on the other hand, are a very low % drop rate. It looks like to me, though, Raikou's just going to elect to skip that location. Not a bad play. We don't have Wave Beam, and Wave Beam's not in Logic. Or, excuse me, Wave Beam is required for Wave Gate to be in Logic. And I think we're going to get the audio worked on. If not, then that's okay too. Thankfully, you guys can at least hear me. But Raikou is high-spirited and having a blast already. Had a good laugh at checking the the waterway without speed booster. That was pretty funny. You know, you're absolutely right. No. Yeah, you're right. You're right, because we can do reverse. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. and then it probably confuses chat when I just like start agreeing or denying with something that doesn't the other side of the conversation can't be heard. That's interesting. Okay, we are making a X-ray check. So this is actually, funnily enough, this is out of Logic. But furthermore, Speed Booster cannot be here because, well, technically it could, because Space Jump is also required for this location. So it's potential that Space Jump unlocks this location. But as it stands, this location is out of Logic. But it's really good to check it, so you don't have to get it on your way back. So we found a super pack. It's going to be number 15. It's actually really good. We're getting really close to being able to fight Ridley. Ridley requires at least 30 supers. Supers do double damage. So 3 missiles equal 1 super, but for when you're fighting Ridley, it actually is 6 missiles. So every time you miss a super, you're going to need to supplement 6 missiles to do the same amount of damage. So that's something important to recognize when you're moving down there. Yeah. So if you didn't hear Raikou, these spikes that he's jumping over do a significant amount of damage, and so especially without suits, it's pretty deadly. So he got through there just fine. We're actually going to make another check down here. This is in Logic.
I might have accidentally muted on my broadcaster. Hopefully there's not double audio.
Let me check here. Oh, hey, I can hear you now.
Cool. Oh, plasma!
Alright, so we are now joined by our runner, RaikouRider.
Sorry about that.
Hello.
Sorry about that, guys. I think I accidentally muted.
So we thank Raikou for doing this race for us, and we just found Plasma Beam. Now, Plasma is an extremely exceptional beam to find for a variety of reasons. One is that we can take this beam down to Lower Norfair and use it to pass through a lot of the enemies. So it's going to allow us to have a lot of safety. Now, if you pair that with the screw attack, you are virtually invincible down in Lower Norfair if you can ensure you are spin jumping at the correct times and shooting at the correct times to like morph to go right through the enemies. But very 2 powerful items in combination. So fun fact. Oh my. Okay, so this is huge because this is out of Logic. So Raikou right now is doing Kraid, and what's required for Kraid is bombs, high jump boots, or space jump. But remember, we found bombs out of logic. So bombs are going to be ice or space jump locked. Gravity is now space or ice locked. And so that means gravity, this is important, Meridia cannot have any of those items because we need them to get this item. And so that's going to give a lot of information to Raikou moving forward in the seed, knowing that we're going to have a lot of areas that if we're like down to, wanting to check for some, actually, hold on one second. We're going to go for a crate quick kill here. Oof. Okay. So, Raikou didn't have charge beam. And so this is a little bit of a harder setup, but basically what you want to do is you want to freeze or kind of get Kraid's arm stuck downward, and then his mouth is going to open and you're going to shoot 4 supers into his mouth, and it's going to do a Kraid quick kill. But without charge beam, it can be kind of tricky. So definitely kudos to Raikou for trying that there. But anyways, so this gravity find that Raikou just found is out of logic, tremendously slow, because we still have to find quite a few items to put bombs into logic, which would then ultimately put Kraid into logic, which then would put gravity into logic. So really interesting Smrat is, because unlike other logic sets where, when you play the harder logics, basically everything is in logic for the most part. You got Suitless Meridia, Suitless Lower Norfair in some cases, depending on the logic. Hell runs of all kinds. Suitless Meridia, I've said that twice, but it's exciting. None of that is in logic in Smart. So it can get kind of convoluted and really complex, actually. For top tier runners, this can actually be a little bit more complicated because of that. For newer runners, it's actually better because they're not going to be doing or even know how to do a lot of these skips or tricks or anything like that. So they're going to be going directly to the logic and whatnot.
All right, so in this case, this is going to seem kind of strange, but I'm actually going to check high jump area just because there's a risk that something could be down there. And normally I wouldn't check this in this case, but because of the logic shenanigans that are going on, I highly suspect there's something in Red Tower.
Yeah, good choice. And that's another decision that I kind of fight with when I'm coming out of Kraid and I haven't checked, the high jump area. I'm like, do I just want to rush into Meridia, or do I want to risk 1, 2, 3, 4 door transitions plus 2 elevators for nothing? And so it's just kind of a gamble back and forth. But
what is going on here?
Wow, space jump. Okay, so now this is important. Space jump puts what into logic, Raikou?
Gauntlet.
Exactly. So space jump is our up logic, and we have screw attack, which is our through logic, and so now all of Gauntlet is in logic, and this now puts gravity back into logic. So now Meridia is back into being in logic, as well as bombs. So now everything that we have outside of grapple and grapple beam is our only item that's out of logic because we still need speed.
I wouldn't be surprised if speed was Gauntlet at this point, either Gauntlet or Red Tower.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Blue Bryn, but did I not kill the?
I do this all the time. So this Nova here, you have to kill it before you can open this door. And a lot of the times, including myself, when I'm trying to, go for speed, I'll forget to kill it and then have to open the door again. Or kill him to open the door.
So normally I would scout Crocomire there, but because I don't have Varia yet, it's very unlikely that there's something required to finish the seed that is behind Varia. The only way this could possibly backfire is that if both Ice and Speed are in Norfair.
Yeah. So, so it's kind of just seeing where that Varia suit falls. But we're gonna go up through the tube here, and Raikou's gonna have a look-see at least 2 items, one that's obtainable, one that is not. One of these is the Main Street Missiles, which is out of logic without Speed Booster. In fact, you just can't get it without Speed Booster. Another Power Bomb pack there, so Raikou might elect to pick that up. We haven't found Ice Beam yet, and we still need at least 3 power bombs. But that's something that Raikou can decide on when the time comes.
I'm actually just going to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up now.
Yeah, good choice. So this now puts Raikou, or will put Raikou at 10 power bombs, which technically you can go through Torian if you have good drops. So you need 3 power bombs per Metroid. If you group, there are 4 rooms, so you need 12 power bombs. All right, so you could technically get lucky, right? But sometimes it's just better to get the 3rd power bomb pack just to ensure that you can get through there with no problems.
Health can also be a big issue down here because there are a lot of enemies that really, really hurt. Like those plasma pirates do 40. I also am looking for either charge or ammo because without charge, you need charge beam to be able to kill bosses without ammo, and Mother Brain requires a lot of ammo.
Yeah, just to, even if you, like, for example, if you don't have ice, you're going to need, at least 3 supers and 2 missiles per Zeb, or 4 supers per Zeb, and then you need 18 projectiles to open the glass, and then 3,000 damage to get to Mother Brain 2, and then from that moment, you need exactly 60 supers to kill Mother Brain 2, so a lot of ammo is required if you do not have charge. So what Raikou is going to try to do, and it's a big moment, especially in races, is which runner elects to manage their ammo pickups better than the other racer, because sometimes charge can be somewhere completely wacko, and then the runner who really worked on picking up their ammo counts are going to be in a better position. But it just really depends on where we find charge beam and where we find ice beam, because ice beam is also a really big part of how much ammo you have to pick up, because if we find ice beam, we can Zeb skip, and that saves a significant amount of ammo as well. We'll kind of just play it by ear and see what we find here. We just checked the beach, and now we're going to be checking the water hole. This room is actually kind of annoying if you don't have space jump or high jump boots. Oof, just 2 missiles. Yeah,
3 missiles up in the watering hole and beach area, unfortunately. But you also have to remember we're still looking for Varia, and Varia can be anywhere in here except Shack Tool until we find Speed. And
exactly.
And it's something I'm starting to get very nervous about, is just, that's what it comes down to, is where is this last thing you need?
Mm-hmm.
And that'll make or break races.
Absolutely. And, sometimes you could just decide, hey, I want to just skip this entire section of the game, and you'll luck out by finding what you need over by your boss. Sometimes runners will just elect a full clear, and it just really, just comes down to what you're most comfortable with. So it looks like, RaikouRider, are you going to be checking the pits?
I will be checking the same pits,
okay.
Yes.
So typically when runners save there, that means they're going to be checking pits. The typical route would be either a left side check first, and then a right side shack check, and then reset. It looks like that's what Raikou might, at least if he's not going to check shack, so he will check left side first here. There are 2 items back here. Again, this is all in logic, so this could potentially be something nice. The pits honestly really love to hold speed. I've seen speed, at least in left side sand pit, a frequent number of times. So let's see what we got back here. Power bomb.
Just ammo.
And a super pack.
Not worth it.
So here comes a reset. It's a really nice time save, because if he did not save there, Raikou would have to go all the way back around through Meridia to get back here, losing a significant amount of time. But we just reset, and we're back here, and now he can check the right side sandpit. So let's see what we find here. Anyone out there in chat ever do Super Metroid Randomzier before? How is the save the animals, kill the animals doing? Let's take a look. I lost the...
Supers and supers. I think given the ammo situation, I am actually going to pick up these supers and then just go up Mount Everest. Well, no, I have to kill Dragon first.
You could also check Shack.
I could.
might find speed somewhere that would put that in logic, but
that's such a hard call.
It really is, and that's like the big thing, right? Like right now we're missing a lot of logical pieces for a lot of these big out of the way locations, but if the moment we find speed booster, those locations are now in logic, and it's just like one of those things, like, do I check it? Do I not check it? I mean, like, Varia could also be, like, stashed away somewhere in Wreck Ship. Is this a play I want to make?
I think I'm going to check it.
Yeah, we'll see what it is. And it's neither a bad nor a good play. It's kind of a, I'm just going to see. Because we can reset, although Raikou did pick up those 2 super packs, which at this point are still relatively useful because we don't have charge or ice. But we'll see what happens. I'm interested. Shacktool, I love you. Please bless us with Varia today.
So the decision to come down to Shacktool was entirely influenced by the 2 super packs in the sandpit. If there was nothing in the sandpit, then I would have just reset and not come back down here.
Huge point. Yeah, that's a good point. So if RaikouRider, for example, found, I don't know, like Spazer Beam and a missile pack, that to me would be a reset, because keeping those items aren't nearly as important as finding 2 super packs. Also, something to note is that if you kind of think about it, Smrat really likes to make long, logical chains. And so we have a speed booster locking Grapple and Grapple locking Shack. So it's possible that that could be the chain of this seat. So I love to think about in chains.
That's fine. That's not what I'm looking for, but it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. See, no, this is okay.
I will keep that.
For sure. And yeah, we didn't find Varia, but this is actually a super nice item because no one wants to fight Mother Brain with 2 tanks and a reserve. So this is now, I mean, it's still Monka-esque with 3 tanks and a reserve. You have very little room for error. If you get hit by, catch up once, it's over.
Getting out of there is a little bit tricky if you don't have high jump.
Facts.
There's a very good reason why I like to call the Super Metroid Rando High Jump Appreciation Simulator. So now I'm going to have to go all the way back around to get to Dragon. Dragon is also a very big issue right now because I don't have Varia. So frying the shrimp is going to be it's going to take a lot of energy. And depending on how many times you get spanked.
And not only that, you unfortunately don't even have any way of through.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't have ice or speed.
Yeah, and you don't have another powerbomb pack, Crystal Flash Clip, if you knew how to do that. So let's see, what do we have left in Meridia? We've full cleared Meridia, so this means
Red Tower and
Upper
Wreck Ship.
Criteria, Red Tower, and Wreck Ship.
That trick is so finicky.
So yeah, what Raikou is doing there, he's actually glitching that gate from the other side. Typically, in the vanilla game, you're not supposed to be able to do that. And so what we do is we jump at a certain pixel and shoot a super at a certain time, and it's actually going to clip the super through the gate, and the radius of the blast actually opens the gate from the other side. It's extremely useful, particularly in a few categories like RBO, and also GT Classic also uses it a lot. And it's also useful in Rando as well.
That particular instance was just a time save.
For sure. So otherwise, Raikou would have had to have gone down through a door transition, through another door transition, and then up through another door transition, ultimately saving a little bit of time. Okay, so I have high hopes that if it's not here, then it's definitely Wreck Ship. Ooh, another E-Tank. That's nice.
Oh yeah, and the ammo's looking good too now.
And a super pack. So now we've gone from, 30 supers to 50 in the past.
Yeah, we're looking a lot better now. And also mentioning about a Zeb skip. The only Zeb skip setup that I'm familiar with is the Ice Wave one.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
So we're probably not going to see a Zepatite skip unless we get really lucky and find both of them. And given that we're not going to be checking much of Norfair, it's very unlikely that we'll see one.
Right. Yeah, given the logic, it's pretty certain that Raikou is going to be running into Varia very soon. Varia soon, and at that point, he will really have no other reason to check things that are out of the way. Potentially, he might check things that are in his way. But other than that, it might be unlikely that we find ice or wave at that point. So we might just see, some Zeb skips.
Yep, that's the plan.
And it's a pretty good plan. It's typically what I run off of if I have the ammo for it. The time it takes to check all of these locations could potentially mitigate the time saved by finding the item you need. And so I just roll with it and YOLO right to the end.
So I'm actually going to be checking Gauntlet and Criteria Powerbomb first, just because that we might suspect that something is in Gauntlet, given that we had such early Space Jump and Screw Attack. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Ice there.
Very good point. And another point to that, Raikou, is the fact that if you were to find Varia here, which you definitely can, Space Jump's putting that Criteria power bombs in check, and also we have that up logic and through logic for Gauntlet. If you were to find Varia here, you would then be much more in a position, you'd be in a much better position to skip checking Wreck Ship, which is a huge time sink. So
exactly,
pretty good decision to sometimes check this first if you want. All right, so now we're gonna get this Criteria Powerbomb check. What puts this into logic is Speed Booster, bombs through an IBJ, or Space Jump. Another super pack, very nice. So we're looking really, really good on ammo.
If I don't have ammo for whatever reason when I come up to do Mother Brain, I'll come back and pick this up. But if there's nothing in Gauntlet, I'm just going to reset this away.
Sounds like a plan. You saved before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I usually save before checking Gauntlet for this reason, especially if I don't have the capability to check Gauntlet from the back.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, at least this is an SMI where you have to do this with one E-Tank.
Exactly. And also, furthermore, you have Space Jump and Screw, which makes this check very cozy.
Very easy.
Like, just look at this. It's just so pleasing to watch.
Now, this room is very important because I'm sure every I'll pick those up later if I need to.
Nice. Okay, so unfortunately, nothing was produced out of those checks, but it was a good check nonetheless, because now we know. Technically, there's some things down in Brinstar, in Blue Brinstar, that could potentially have our Varia suit. Now that we have Space Jump, Billy Mays is in logic. We also have that construction zone item to check. It's actually even potential, but there's a possibility that we could find both Ice and Speed Booster in Wreck Ship, and Varia could be at Climb Supers. That's how complex this logic can get. So I'm really excited and interested to see.
Well, there's Speed.
Wow. That's very interesting. So Speed Booster is actually a after you get supers and power bombs, it's immediately in logic. So that right there puts everything that we have back into logic.
Yep. So now we're just waiting for Varia, and then a little bit more ammo. Okay, that's good. There's another super pack available. So now we're just looking for heat protection.
Yep. So yeah, at this point we're just kind of run and check, and maybe even skip a few places, maybe even not skip a few places rather. Just trying to find that Varia suit. It can literally be anywhere that is not heated. So we've already full cleared Meridia, and we have a few other locations that we need to do outside of Wreck Ship. But other than that, it's now just a hunt for Varia at this point.
And these are the kinds of moments that will just make or break races. I'm starting to get scared of it being in here, and I think there's too much of an... Well, you know what I could do? I think a smart idea and I think I'm gonna try this, is I'm gonna go kill Fantoon, then go to my ship and do all the Retrobrin stuff. And then if there's nothing there, I can reset to my ship.
Interesting. Or you could actually, that's the interesting idea. You could save at the wreck ship save.
That actually makes more sense. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, but I love that idea. I hadn't even thought about that before. So you save at wreck ship, then go check all the Brinstar criteria. If it ends up being a PogChamp play, you find Varia, then great. If it's not, then you made a gamble, but you can reset and clear out wreck ship instead of having to go all the way back through, because you're probably at that point you're at Billy Mays, and that would be a long trek back to wreck ship. Boy, I might even try that, because particularly a lot of people know me for skipping wreck ship, but I might even try that.
And you also get the two wreck ship checks, the wreck ship supers.
Yeah,
you get those checks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a really interesting routing choice. I like that.
Alright, so this is part of a strategy that I came up with to make Fantoon a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, especially if you have screw attack.
But I did miss one missile in the first phase, so I am going to need to do one extra cycle. But if you're not as skilled with Dopplering Fantoon, then this is the best consistent method to be able to dispatch Fantoon. If you're not as skilled with being able to 2-cycle Fantoon with Dopplers, or even 3.
For sure. And so also, if you don't have screw attack, you can also use what's called a pseudo screw with if you had charge beam. So you can use the same method that Raikou is displaying here, and you can charge a charge shot and actually pseudo screw through the flames, just like he was doing with regular screw attacks. So that's also something that you could consider. All right, so we're 2 bosses down. We now have access to kill Dragon, and actually, fun fact, Varia suit can now be anywhere in the back of Meridia now, which this is going to be wild trying to find this Varia suit, because it can literally be in so many different places. So I'm really interested to see where this turns out. It could be anywhere in Wreck Ship. It could be anywhere in Blue Brinstar. It could be anywhere in the rest of Meridia. It's kind of interesting. Let's get a. If you guys understand this game, where do you guys think Varia is going to be? Let's get some guesses in chat here. I'm really, really, really feeling. For some reason, I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling a climb super, but we don't have ice yet, and that's required for that. Because the reason why I say this is because the climb super location requires a lot of things. Actually, it requires speed booster and ice beam for the bottom, and it requires a combination of items for the top. It could either require grapple beam, or space jump, or Varia plus 2 E-tanks. So we have literally all of that except the Varia piece, which technically Varia could be found there for the logical progression across the spikes. What were you going to say?
Oh, right.
That's okay. I want to see this play in action. It's kind of cool.
Right. This is new to me. This is a very unique situation.
Yeah, this is, it's not so often that you have Blue Brinstar to check and the top of Wreck Ship to check this late in a seed. So, just with where the power bombs were, it's kind of an interesting decision, because again, this in the end might be the slower decision, of course. But if Varia's suit is in the next few checks for Raikou, they probably won this race. And that is the kind of decision making that Smrat runners, well, really any rando runner period, has to make. But if it's not here, then we can reset right back to the ship and clear it out anyways.
At that point, if it's not in Blue Bryn, then I just full clear Wreck Ship.
Yeah,
because the odds of it being at someplace silly like Precious Missile, they're just so low.
Exactly. But
and if it's
then
just
again,
if it's precious missile, then nice 100% seed.
yeah, exactly. But of course, you could even make the play like you know, honestly, you could save at wreck ship and then go clear the rest of Meridia up to Dragon. And if you don't find Varia there, you could reset the wreck ship. I don't know. There's just a lot of different ways you could go about it just to...
Well, then you have to kill Dragon again is the issue. If you reset. So that's the biggest reason why I'm not going down there, is because it takes a long time to get to Dragon, and that's not something you want to reset away.
For sure. Okay. So now we're going to be making these checks here. We're going to check that Billy Mays location, which is now completely in logic. The two pieces for Billy Mays are either space jump or gravity. We have both, so that's completely satisfied. We also have 4 ways to make it up this shaft. We can do a simple screw attack, which is what Raikou ultimately is going to do. It's going to break that block. We can use a bomb, we can use a power bomb, or we can speed booster. Use speed booster. So 4 different ways to make it up that. Wow. Okay, so just a power bomb and an E-tank. So
Billy Mays is nothing. Oh, there's also
construction zone.
Yes, there's that.
Waterway.
Yes, I was gonna bring up Waterway.
Oh boy, and that's kind of funny because you went there without the required items, so it's kind of like coming full circle now.
I'd be so
upset.
That's
actually an item place that I hadn't even considered at this point. That would be rude. If Various Suit was at Waterway, that would be pretty rude. But we're gonna get the check here at
Oh no! Now I have to menu. Well, I'm not even gonna bother because if Waterway and Wavegate are nothing, I'm just gonna reset anyway.
Fair enough.
So why bother
menuing? Yeah, exactly.
So the reason why I would have to menu is because you can't have Spazer and Plasma equipped at the same time. The game really, really doesn't like it if you have both of them on. Like, it really doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's actually, it can really glitch out the game if you try to put them on at the same time.
Alright, this trick should go better with 53 supers.
Oh yes, definitely. You know, fun fact, Varia could also be here.
Come on.
Depending on where Wave is. So this is really a little bit more of a complex Wavegate glitch.
I think
without high jump boots, Raikou has to position himself inside the doorway here and just inch himself out.
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
What?
Okay. A few things about this. 3 things. 1,
that's absurd.
Raikou is probably feeling really angry right now because he had to skip this location because he ran out of supers. Really unfortunate. 2, that means Wave Beam cannot be found anywhere in Norfair that is heated or lower Norfair. And 3, what a spot for Varia, because Gravity was... where was Gravity? I forget. Do you remember where Gravity was?
Gravity was... It was in someplace silly. I'm trying to remember where it was. I know we had... I know it was silly.
Yeah. But with that, RaikouRider is basically in go mode.
I need ammo.
Some more ammo would be nice.
Charger ammo.
Because we don't have Ice Beam. Something also to note is that Charge Beam really likes to be behind Ridley. So it's a possibility that that's where we'll find Charge Beam.
I'm gonna be
high jump boots also like to be there.
I'm gonna be checking the item behind Ridley for that specific reason, but
awesome.
but just good lord. So that wreck ship gamble that we made paid off, and finding Varia there at that point might actually be a blessing, because if I didn't find Varia, because if I had found that earlier, then I probably would have searched a bear in Norfair.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many ways that could have gone down. So let's say, a normal runner, not a normal runner, most runners would get that Varia suit, and the right decision at that point would be to head down into Norfair, because it's really item dense and also in logic. Well, at that point it wasn't, because we still don't have wave, but the idea to save at wreck ship and then leave, that was pretty exceptional, and then it worked out. It was pretty cool. So, but of course, it's potentially possible that Ice Beam and High Jump Boots and Wave Beam and Charge Beam are all chilling in wreck ship. But I predict we're gonna find Charge Beam at Ridley. It really likes to be there. Save the Animals is ahead by $28. And I believe that's going to cut off at the Mother Brain sequence.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, we should. I think we'll cut it off at like Baby Metroid after MB2, like between MB2 and MB3.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable spot to cut it off.
Definitely.
Oh, and since we have all the nice items for Lower Norfair, this room is always nice. That room can be a real bear if you don't have Screw Attack. Lower Norfair in general is a real bear if you don't have Screw Attack.
Mm-hmm.
But Screw Attack makes this nice and easy, but you do still have to be careful down here. Case in point, everything hurts. So, the only item I'm going to check on the way to Ridley is probably Power Bomb of Shame.
Oh yeah, good choice. Ice Beam, Charge Beam, High Jump Boots. They have a pretty high probability of being there.
What a great time to drop spin. Movement's impossible in this game. That's just a community inside joke, is that movement is impossible in this game. We have plenty of health, we don't need a save. If I had one less E-Tank, I would probably save. Whoops. That's coming the other way you do that. I tell you what, though, it's not NASA without it being a troll without it being just a trolly rando seed. Oh, there's Charge.
Sure. Wow. Yeah, that's it. Very nice.
Just the big brain plays getting there.
So with that being said, Raikou is definitely in go mode.
I'll probably still check the item behind Ridley, but I don't need anything else to finish the
game. I'm sure, the Ridley item has a really high probability to a really nice item. Potentially, an E-Tank to refill you, High Jump Boots for better movement out of Lower Norfair. It's not really typically Ice Beam, but definitely High Jump Boots are good.
Yep. And sorry about not keeping up on the tracker. Keeping up on tracking is kind of hard during this game.
Definitely, because there's not a lot of time in between.
I will get back up to health here just in case, but
yeah, marathon safety.
Because if this were a race, I would just go straight into the fight. But I am gonna get back up to health. That's plenty. Because as many Super Metroid runners and fans of this game know, Ridley has a tendency just not to behave. This is what you want, is this attack.
Pogo. Very nice pogo.
That was a good fight.
Yeah, good fight, good fight. Now we're going to check this item in the back here. As mentioned before, it could be, you know, a number of really good items, high jump, or, well... Yo, let's go!
Let's go!
I love logic. And I promise we didn't play this seed beforehand.
We did not.
We're making these cosmic brain plays.
And that's one thing that's very important to know, is that neither one of us have advanced knowledge of what is in the seed.
Yeah, that's what makes randomizers so much fun. You know, you guys just had a taste of the Minish Cap randomizer last run, which is one of the newest randomizers. It's also really incredible randomizer. So
Yeah,
definitely check that out.
Just shout-outs to the developers of all these programs, because they put a lot of thought into making the games we know and love a different experience every time you play. And that's one of the reasons why... That's one of the reasons why we keep coming back to them, and these are a great way to blow off steam after just losing run after run after run to something silly in a vanilla game, because these create a different experience every time you play.
Every single time, yeah.
Between the combo randomizer and this, I've probably done 200 plus of these. And the situation that came up in this seed with the with just the way the logic wound up being, I've never run into something like this before.
Yeah, this is.
And a matter of fact, that the seed that we used to test the setup for this run was really weird too.
It was. I'm really interested where Wave Beam is, because this is what puts everything back in order. We're just so not in logic right now, so I need to know where that wave beam is. I'm very curious to know.
We'll find out.
In the spoilers, yeah.
In the credits, yeah, we'll find out.
I predict it's definitely somewhere in Wreck Shit at this point. Or, yeah, it has to be, because it can't be anywhere in Lower Norfair or Norfair. Upper Norfair in Bubble Mountain.
Yeah, there's some very, very strange places that it could be at for sure. It's probably in Wreck Ship somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just need to head up to Meridian, kill Dragon real quick.
Yeah,
and that
we're on pretty good time. We're about going to reach probably 116-ish, maybe a little quicker depending on we do have charge beam, so that helps a little bit, but it's just charge plasma, so we might have to use supers to have a quicker fight. But we're running right about on an estimate, maybe a little under.
And stuff like this happening is one of the reasons why I gave such a high conservative estimate.
Definitely.
But overall, now that we have the seed solved, I think I made pretty good. Where are you going? I think I made pretty good decisions given what the seed made you do.
Yeah, definitely. I would have handled it maybe just slightly, but just only slightly in different areas. But other than that, basically the same route I would have taken as well. Now we're heading to our final boss, Dragon.
And the best.
What? And are you going to use grapple?
Yes.
Very nice.
And one thing I am very, very happy about is in this seed, I avoided trying to go to Link to the Past.
For those of you who are unaware, there is a combo randomizer by the name of SMZ3. That's Super Metroid and A Link to the Past, the third edition of the Zelda series. And it's a combomizer where both games are randomized with all of the items in each game can be found in the other game. And so there are 4 transitions in Super Metroid where you can enter the door and be pushed into Link to the Past. So a lot of the times, especially when you're first starting out and you're going down the parlor, when I was grinding a lot of SMZ3, I would always want to fall towards that door thinking I need to go into A Link to the Past.
Come on, Batoon, please.
Now we're fighting the boss with one of the worst hitboxes in the game next to Crocomire. That head has to be hit to kill Botswoon here.
I didn't shoot it in time. Just a disclaimer, I've only ever done this once.
Were you trying to go for the halfy?
The halfy, yeah. I've only ever gotten it once. It's really hard.
It is. So the trick that RaikouRider was just attempting there is called the halfy. The reason why it's called the halfy is because it goes through half of this room. This room's called the Colosseum. And furthermore, the full halfy, as it's called, goes all the way through the room, so full. The halfy is much easier to get, but is still very difficult. You have to charge a Shine Spark through the door, and then quickly wall jump up the door while holding the spark, open the door, and then Shine Spark through the room. And the reason why it's called the full halfy is because it was, until recently, from what I understand, it was only tasks. They did not think that it was possible for humans to get the full length of the room.
I'll just do it the regular way.
And then they can now. So originally it was the halfy, and so then now the full halfy is the way it is.
Both of them are still incredibly difficult.
Yes, definitely.
Hey, Dragon, can you stop spanking me, please?
So this is a fun way to kill Dragon. If you have Grapple Beam, you can do this. The problem with this sometimes is, depending on the amount of health you have, Dragon can spank you a few times, doing a significant amount of damage before you even get an opportunity to do the quick kill there.
And of note, that does a lot of damage to Samus if you don't have Varia coming here.
Yes,
definitely. Which I've definitely had happen because I've seen Varia at Space Jump before, which is a little silly. Alright, so that's the G4 down, so I'm going to head back to the ship for a refill. Oh, that was actually a really cool speedball into there.
Yeah, that was nice.
Totally intended, by the way. So now we can take a little convenient escape hatch out of Aqueduct to quickly get back to Mount Everest and through Red Tower. That escape through Mount Everest into Red Tower it's so nice to be able to use it.
Definitely.
Because not all routes let you use that, but this one will.
Very nice. So Raikou used the space jump to get himself in between that gap, and that's not easy. So really good job there, movement-wise. We just passed that right there is a community favorite. It's called the Sephi/Ponk Fish. Two amazing runners in the speedrunning community, both both unbelievable runners in various categories. So shout outs to them. And now we are going to be heading to the ship. We're going to refill, and then we're about 10 to 12 minutes away from finishing this bad boy.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do for the Metroids, since I'm gonna need to group them all because of the power bomb situation, is I'm actually gonna be turning Screw Attack off and letting them grab me to try to group some of the more cantankerous ones easier. And as far as the save kill, we're gonna cut that off at the end of Mother Brain 2. So if you want to make us happy, donate to kill those animals because we want them dead. At least I want them dead. I'm sure J-Chalk wants them dead too.
So I'm actually, so here's my philosophy on when I decide to kill or save. If it's a race and I haven't seen a dot done yet, I will always kill. If I see the dot done, I will always save. And that's because, I've lost already, and so, save those animals. But if I've not lost already, save those frames. We actually had just a smrat. There's actually a fun fact would be a good time to mention. There's actually a tournament ongoing right now on Speedrunners Arena for the Super Metroid Randomzier accessible logic. It's about 80 participants or so. It's a pretty big tournament. And it's the second year for this tournament. And we have races almost every day. It's super exciting. So if you have enjoyed this style of logic, highly recommend checking those races out. Raikou is also in that tournament. Was in the tournament.
Yeah, I made upper bracket.
It's a double elimination best of 3. So who was your alternative winners bracket opponent?
The bottom bracket was Polar Bear Bunny, I think I had. And it just was a decision of I went the wrong way, and just Varia was just in a really bad spot.
So Raikou's making his way through the Turian location here, and you notice he's grouping these Metroids. And this is because he does not have Ice Beam. And Ice Beam, you freeze the Metroids, and then you can shoot them with various missiles or a super. But because we don't have Ice Beam, we need to use 3 power bombs per Metroid to kill it. And so that's what we're doing right now. And this is also why it was slightly more important to have a little bit more health coming in here, because these Metroids do a significant amount of damage.
And the Metroids can't latch onto you if you have Screw Attack, if you're using Screw Attack, so that's the big reason why I turned Screw Attack off. And there's another reason why I turned Screw Attack off as well, is because it gets in the way for... there's a couple other things it gets in the way for. Since we don't have Ice or Wave, I won't be able to skip the Zebetite, so I'm going to need to take him down with ammo. And before you say it, J-Chalk, no, I don't know Speed Zeb Skip. That's actually stupid hard. I think that's a stutter 3. Yeah,
the Zeb Skip or Speed Zeb Skip, they're all very, very difficult.
I'm pretty sure it's a stutter 3.
Yeah, the Speed Zeb Skip is a stutter 3 with a 3rd tap on the other side of the door, I believe. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, there are various methods to do speed. There are various methods to skip the Zeb Skip. We only have access to one of them, or rather, one of them with the Speed Zeb Skip, but not going to be pulling that off today. It's something that I don't even do as myself, and I'm a pretty good runner at this. It's a very, very, very difficult trick.
I'm also
sorry, go ahead.
I'm also really, really impressed with the amount of money that's been raised for Save Kill. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, which reminds me, we're about ready to be fighting Mother Brain, so get your last donations in for Save or Kill, depending on what you prefer. Just know that in here in about a few minutes, we're going to be killing Mother Brain, and then we're going to be heading to the escape. So this run is nearing its end. So let's see what you guys can do. And now, as mentioned, we have to shoot 4 supers into these Zebs, and then now we're going to shoot, technically you only need 9 missiles and 9 supers to defeat Mother Brain 1 here. But we might want to save, what Raikou's actually doing here is saving a few supers for the fight, because he only has charge and ice.
No, charge plasma.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Charge plasma, definitely doesn't have ice.
Now, it's very, very important that I stay above 300 energy.
Yes. So, Raikou needs to stay above 300 energy or it's an automatic rip. Did you save before, Mother Brain?
No.
Okay. So, he did save at the ship, so we're just going to hope and pray that he doesn't take too much damage here. I believe it's 30 shots with charge plasma. We're going to get close to the catch-up, and once the catch-up starts to come, it's 15 supers following the catch-up. Here's the catch-up, so now he needs to shoot 15 supers, and then he'll be dead.
And now I just want to damage down to between 300 and 400 energy, because that makes the cutscene a little bit faster. So once the baby Metroid appears, that's when we're going to cut the incentive off. So we're doing one last refresh now, and it looks like the animals are going to be saved. This incentive raised $211, so thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys.
That's a lot more money than I was expecting the incentive to raise, but just thank you so much for being so generous.
So, it looks like, is that Save the Animals winning?
Yes, we will be saving them.
Super, super. Alright, so now we're on the final sequence here. Baby Metroid is basically going to attach here to Samus, and is going to use her life energy to transfer to Samus. And then in that process, Mother Brain's like, nah, fam, I'm gonna kill you. And then Baby Metroid dies, and then Samus is like, nah, fam, and then it's gonna completely vaporize
Bible thump
Mother Brain's face here. Saddest. Let's get some Bible thumps in chat for the saddest moment in gaming history.
Way too many shots.
An angel. You will be missed. Alright, guys. So, excuse me, Raikou's now going to be heading through the escape sequence. It's going to be a pretty nice escape sequence, actually, because we have speed booster, we have high jump boots,
we have everything.
And we have everything. So it's going to be a really nice, cozy escape here. We have 3 minutes to get through, and this run is going to be over within the next 2 minutes.
Very important to jump through this door transition, in particular. There's a lot of little movement optimizations in this game that it just blows my mind how the movement in this game just continues to be optimized. The real reason why I wanted to kill all the pirates in that shaft is because this room is very, very laggy.
Yeah, that room can lag pretty hard if you have multiple pirates on the screen. Alright, we're going to do our final spark up the climb. And we're going to head into the parlor, and we're going to see... Actually, you know, honestly, for a seed like this, this was not a bad time. Maybe about a 113.35-ish. and that is actually pretty incredible. Of course, we have to save the animals.
Yeah, we have to save the animals.
We have to save the animals, of course. So never mind my prediction there. But
right.
still a really, really good run from Raikou here. The logic was pretty intense. There goes the babies. They're saved. Yay. And let's go hit the ship.
Yeah, and then
So
time will be when Samus faces forward in the ship.
Yes. Good point.
Time.
And GG. Let's spam the chat with GG. Congratulations, Raikou. Good run there.
Thanks. That was a really crazy scene.
Yeah, that Varia placement just broke us.
that and the wreck ship play I made paid off.
Yes.
The play to go down to high jump paid off handsomely.
Mm-hmm.
This felt like one of those big brain seeds where if you don't take the right path, you're gonna get like 120, 125, and you're not gonna feel too good.
Easy. Well,
we should give this seed to like Nevdians.
Yeah. It would be really interesting to see how they would handle that.
But good stuff. And during the credit sequence will also tell us where that wave beam was.
Yes, that wave beam. We literally finished the seed out of logic. That excites me.
Gotta see the stats.
So, gotta see where this wave beam is. I'm assuming it's somewhere on the top of Wreck Ship, but it could be something pretty cray. So what's up next on the marathon?
Next up, we've got some Kirby Air Ride.
Oh, heck yeah. Cool.
And also for everyone donating for file name, the next game that uses a file name is Tony Hawk, which is in like 5 hours, so you guys don't need to try to snipe each other right now.
Alright, I'm really interested to see what this wave beam is. The whole seed rests on this wave beam location.
Yeah, there are some really nasty places it can be.
Shoutouts to all the developers of the Varia Rando.
Yes, the very adaptable randomizer of items and area. And this is just a taste of what the Varia Randomizer can do. It can shuffle rooms around. There are all sorts of insane things it can do.
Yeah, it's very, very, very robust with the things it can do. You can make your own plandomizers. You can, change rooms around, like you said. You can remove items completely from the game where you'd never get them. It's sub-8 Turian, pretty good.
Sub-8 Turian saving the animals, too.
That's pretty awesome.
Let's see where this wave beam was.
Yeah, and if you've never played Super Metroid, I highly recommend it. So this item location is actually a train.
Look at that! Ice at Plasma and Wave at freaking Shaft Supers. What is this?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me break that down for you guys. That means he needed to go kill Dragon, get Ice Beam at Plasma, then go all the way over to climb Supers to get Wave Beam, and then take the Wave Beam to Pink Brinstar to get Varia Suit. Like, what?
That is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I like to do a lot of challenges. People give me seeds all the time to play 100% within logic.
Oh yeah.
I'm totally... Can you send this seed to me?
Sorry, I missed it.
Can you send this seed to me?
I will send this seed to you. This seed should actually just be like distributed to SM Rat, period.
I'm thinking about doing like taking two people who had didn't see this marathon and doing an exhibition race, but they have to do the race completely in logic just to watch them break down.
Please. But in any case, thank you so much, Quo, for having us.
Oh, this run was a pleasure to watch, believe me.
Yeah, it was fun. And thank you so much for having me on for CoComs. It was a blast, and really appreciate it. So
You're You're welcome, and I'm
Raikou
glad.
was talking. Oh, sorry, go for it.
You're welcome, and I'm glad that you could come out on such short notice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I just had finished commentating a match, and I was in the commentating spirit.
Yeah, I've heard Raikou's commentary before, and like he was vetting you as a good commentator, so like my expectations were pretty high. But you definitely did not underdeliver there.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, so thanks. Don't forget to follow NASA. Don't forget to follow Raikou. And follow, was it Deku? Follow Deku. Follow everyone else.
Well, cool,
Okay.
yeah.
Have a great day, everyone. I'm going to pop out.
Did you guys already plug the tournament stuff? Or do we want to do that one last time? Where can they find the tournament?
Yeah, for sure. So the tournament is on Speed Runners Arena, SRA. It's the Super Metroid Randomizer Accessible Tournament. I am the admin over at SRA and also the tournament organizer of SMRAT, and we run this yearly. This is the second year we've been running this. It uses the exact seed you've been seeing here, the logic set, and yeah, it's a pretty incredible tournament because it's really, you could pick up a controller if you haven't played Super Metroid before, and you can join this tournament. You know, a lot of times tournaments use tournament settings, right? You know, typical tournament settings. You know, maybe some tricks in logic, stuff like that. But for SMRAT, nothing's in logic. That is not in the vanilla game. So it's a really nice way to get experience and introduced into Super Metroid. And if you're interested, you could totally check it out and join for next year, or maybe even getting on some practice races or whatever. But it's a lot of fun. Thanks.
And additionally, one thing that I do want to do before we cut out is I will drop a link to the randomizer in the chat if you wish to play this yourself.
1 sec.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So that link that I just dropped is the link to the randomizer, so you will...
Send it again one more time. It wasn't letting.
It was like, yeet.
But in any case, I will get that sent out for you. And with that, I will hand it back to Quo for the next run. Good luck to all the runners.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.